Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you well from wherever you're watching this channel. Now, Professor OGOLLA, who is an activist and a legal expert, has decided to weigh in on this public order bill, one that ESTHER PASSARIS has fronted to curb the way demonstrations are supposed to be conducted. Remember,
that is a proposal from a member of ODM, right? And I told you very well, rank has made them too drunk that now rank is more important and comes at the expense of human rights.
but the proposed amendment to the Public Order Act sets a fine of 100,000 for persons who violate the proposed law. Now, first and foremost, before we explore this story further, there's a newspaper. So the Nation newspaper shared a story there, and there's a title on that Nation newspaper page that says, Ruto's draconian bill on demonstration. You know, the protests. You know, this story is all about what ESTHER PASSARIS has fronted to the floor of the House, the National Assembly. And to your shock dismiss, it seems the members of Parliament have endorsed it. Now, if the members of Parliament are endorsing it, then most likely this is going to be enacted into law. Of course, someone is going to go to court. It's going to be, we're going to see what the courts are going to do. But looking at the way things are unfolding, most likely the courts are going to okay it. You know, because the courts were also affected in the previous demonstration. So Professor OGOLLA has used certain words to describe the person who fronted that bill. And I'd like to take you through the whole response from Professor OGOLLA regarding the person who fronted this amendment, proposed amendment to the Public Order Act. But first, listen to this reaction about the person who fronted the bill.
I like to think even physically, the person who drafted this has intellectual, let's say, suicide or something they have committed, or if not, maybe they are intellectual dwarfs. But the truth of the matter is that what cost will it...
Let's not go into personal
just wait.
Very well. Professor OGOLLA thinks that the person who fronted that bill is an intellectual dwarf. Of course, that is not something that was welcomed by the interviewer in that interview, but that's what he said, ladies and gentlemen. So in this analysis, I'd like us to focus on this statement from Professor OGOLLA. Why does he think that the person who is fronting those changes or the amendments, the proposed amendments, is an intellectual dwarf? So before we go further on this story, please support this channel by liking this video, subscribe to our channel if you had not subscribed before, and to our existing subscribers, thank you so much for your support. If that bill sells through, and there are 90% chances that it's going to sell through and subsequently be, you know, endorsed by the president, of course there will be a lot of public outcry. The president will face a lot of pressure. But looking at this bill, amendment bill, from a closer angle, it's going to be signed into law. Now, should it be signed? Because there's talk that you're not supposed to demonstrate next to a police station. There's some, distance that is being allocated in that bill. You're not supposed to demonstrate next to a church, a court, such kind of establishments. You know, the move is try to curb those violent protests that do erupt. That according to them, that there's supposed to be a segregated area where demonstrations can take place. So the big question is, based on Professor OGOLLA's comments, will that really be a demonstration? You're told to go and demonstrate in a beach. Go to a beach and demonstrate there. Just on the shores of the lake, go and demonstrate there, where there are no properties. You can't attract attention. You see, we don't want properties to be destroyed. We don't want people to burn police stations, courtrooms. No. Don't destroy another person's property or business, because at the end of the day that person is not guilty of anything. Ni Mkenya tu kama wewe. But the kind of demonstration where mumetupwa kule kando kabisa, I don't know, hata even sio Kimau, I don't know, sio Kimau ama umetupwa kule sio Kimau kule. According to Ogolla, hakuna hiyo nafasi ya kudemonstrate. Hakuna hiyo nafasi ambayo ita attract even 1 million people. Hakuna. You know, in South Africa, theirs is normally successful because walitenga areas of demonstration. The same happens to some Western countries. Wametenga areas of demonstrations. But even though huwa imetengwa, unapata kwamba normally hizi huwa hazifuatiliwi. Because let's take a look at now New York City. There was recently demonstrating about something concerning Trump's immigration policies, ones that they are termed draconians, you know, but they demonstrated kwa city center huko, waka-destroy vitu, waka-clash na police, you know. Even South Africa that has those public order rules, they normally also demonstrate sometimes when inaingia paka town, you know. So I think looking at this bill carefully, I'm looking at the punishment. You know, it's 100K. You are caught demonstrating na auko within 100 meters radius around parliament, the state house, courts and other designated protected areas within which protest will be prohibited. Ukiwa uko within that range of 100 meters, utashtakiwa. Because if I may take you through something that PASSARIS said, let me just take you through some proposals which she talked about in the bill. She said, the rationale of the bill follows the safety of our people, and safeguarding institutions' rights must be exercised peacefully and unarmed. There is a need to ensure that the rights of other individuals are not prejudiced. In recent protests, supermarkets were looted, women raped, people terrorized, rogue actors turned rights into ruin. This bill is a direct response to the crisis. And the proposed Public Order Act sets a fine of 100,000 for persons who violate the proposed law. Meaning, if you are caught, let's say like 100 of you, you know that you will be expected to pay 100, all of you, times 100,000, you know, and that is already, you know, 10 million that will be, the government will take from those people. So what this means, based on other people's interpretation, is that the government is looking for a way to get money from the people who want to go and protest on the streets of Nairobi, but even Mombasa, not in Nairobi only. It's just, it will apply to all areas in Kenya. So maybe sasa, I don't know kama wanataka kama mtu akitaka ku demonstrate aende kule Samburu, kuna mali, kuna land ambayo iko vacant. You go there and, you know, like start demonstrating there. Sijui kama that is what they want us to do, but let's just wait for what is going to happen, because the bill bado inapitia stages zake, na bado itapitia kwa rais, na bado mpaka isainiwe, na kuna mtu ataenda kotini. So mambo mengi yatafanyika kitambo ifanyike. So maybe haitapita ama itapita, but chances are that if it lands on William Ruto's desk, itapita. So perhaps if you're watching this video and you've not subscribed, take 1 second and subscribe, like this video. Until you catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed.